Here's $1 million question, sir. I know you're an FCPS in operative dentistry, but my question is post graduation or private practice. Now, you're an FCPS in you're an FCPS in operative dentistry, and I'm sure you'll have a bias towards professional development. You're quite vocal about being developing your profession and your skills. But if I had to ask you the pros and cons of each of going into private practice and professionally developing, what would they be?
Okay, I can give a very diplomatic answer to that, but I'll rather give you my, honestly speaking, how my thinking has changed over the years. Okay, now as students, myself, and as when you were a student, why do we want to do post graduations and become academicians? Because our teachers are the most visible people, or at least successful people, or our definition of successful professionals that we have in front of us. So that's what we want to be, right?
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, that is what I started with. I really liked, being in a position of teaching, and I liked many of the teachers that I wanted myself to be like them. So I ended up being in this profession. I ended up being a primary academician and then a private practitioner as well. However, you need to understand that both these positions are extremely challenging and quite fulfilling in their own selves. You have to understand that when you're an academician, you're a teacher, you're a mentor, you are, in our setups, you are an administrator and you're a researcher. There are too many roles to fulfill. And at the same time, if you are a full-time private practitioner, you are a manager, you are an entrepreneur, you're a clinician, again, you're a mentor there as well. So both of these positions can be very draining on themselves. So when I started off, I always thought and I always gave people the advice that you should just do post-graduation, get into a teaching position, and this and that. Now, I generally advise people to invest more time in their private practices. And I think that that is what future holds for the younger graduates. Of course, I'm not saying that those of you who are really passionate about teaching should not come in teaching, okay? But if you do not, associate yourself with the more academic part of this profession, then in most parts of the world, people do post-graduation, they become consultants, and then they work in private practices. Very few of them would either be part-time faculty or full-time faculty with an institution. So you need to understand that. And if it is about making money, I can tell you with all these years of experience and having a good look at some of the top practitioners of Lahore and Pakistan, that it's in the private practice. Okay. So if you have a passion and you want to do both, it's going to be a really tough job because, your day would start at probably Fajr. Your job would start at 8. And if you want to do any kind of decent private practice, it would end at 10. So how many years would you be able to do that and do justice to both the aspects of your profession? So you could do as many of us are doing now, where you are part-time practitioners but full-time academicians.
Yeah.
Okay. Or vice versa, which is not allowed in Pakistan, where you are full-time practitioners and part-time faculty, which unfortunately is not allowed. So you eventually would have to take a decision of being either what I have already told you, or just a full-time practitioner, or just a full-time academician.
Okay, that was definitely not a diplomatic answer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But if I have to tilt one way, it would be asking people to invest more of their time into private practices. It's a business, right?
So, Dr. Nasir, I know that you're amazing at career counseling because you're the first person I came to once I graduated from BDS, and you career counseled me.
I don't know whether I'm amazing at it or not, but it's something that I like doing.
No, but you are, and that's why you're good at it, because you do it and you're pretty good at it. So I'll just ask you one question. I won't go into the detail of it. We might go into the detail of it sometime in the future, but I'll just ask you one question. a person who has just graduated, like he's graduated and he's sitting there, what should the mindset of a young dentist be in 2020? What should he think? The way he thinks, what should it be?
Honestly speaking, if you're talking in reference to the current situation, then I think not a bad time to be just graduated. Because honestly, these 2 years are going to be, in any case,
Hmm.
most of the times you are at home, you are preparing for exams, you are applying for jobs, you're doing observerships or shadowing at clinics. You can still do that in a pretty
Yeah.
safe environment. Those who are graduating or who have just opened up private practices are probably, I just mentioned before as well, are in a more. So if you've just graduated, I think I always tell, irrespective of whether this is COVID-19 or not,
Hmm.
I ask them that this house job year is where you start planning for things. You
Hmm.
start, doing the initial assessment, so to speak. Your research into if you want to go abroad for your postgraduate studies, if you want to stay in Pakistan for your postgraduate studies, if you
Hmm.
don't want to do your postgraduate studies and go into opening your own practice, or you may be wanting to be associated with a slightly bigger practice, as an associate first, and hopefully many people have done that they grow to become major clinicians in those practices, and they earn their living just as an employee in those
Yeah.
in those practices. So there are various career paths. Joining army used to be one. I don't know. I was selected from Lahore, then chose not to join army because of various reasons. So the point is, there are many
Hmm.
options in front of you, and it's only you who decide. Nobody can tell you whether you'll make a good teacher or not, or whether you want to spend 2 3 years going through various entrance examinations of either fellowship examination here, or maybe entry into a DDS program, or maybe directly into an MS leading to PhD. The options are unlimited now, honestly
Yeah.
speaking. This is an age where you can't be complacent and say that, oh no, I did not have the right guidance. Those were our days. I'm talking about that dial-up networking or
Yeah.
dial-up internet. So probably the guidance was lacking in those days, and the
Hmm.
only option that we could see in front of us was FCPS, and so we took it. you know
Hmm.
and unfortunately, there are not many university degrees still in Punjab. They are, at least in clinical fields, they are in basic sciences. They are in many of the other provinces, like in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, you have got these MDSs and master's
Yeah.
programs. In Karachi, you have got many, in Sindh in general, even in Jamshoro. So you've got a lot of options in front of you. You just need to first see and decide which direction you want to go in.
Yeah.
Okay, have that clarity. You can't be a passenger of too many boats at the same time. Okay, you might think that, okay, I'm going to go for a postgraduate program maybe here or abroad, and then start studying the basic science subjects because the general layout for these exams is the same here or abroad.
Hmm.
But you need to make that decision whether you don't want to pursue post graduation, at least for now, and want to go
Yeah.
straight into clinical practice. And in that case, I'll just ask you to join a really good practice where initially you
Okay.
would observe for many, many months, and then probably you'll start doing some procedures yourself. And it's not,
Yeah.
honestly, learning dentistry. It's about how to manage your practice. I think what our curricula lack is teaching you how to run a successful practice,
Yeah.
how to be a good
Indeed.
manager of a practice. And that is something that many of these very, very famous general dentists of Lahore have learned the hard way, and they've got a lot to teach you guys in
Yeah.
that respect. So sometimes when you join these major practices, it's not the dentistry only that you're learning. It's how to run a clinic, that you are, how to be
Indeed.
a good
Yep.
manager, how to, use your human resource and manage them well, is what you are in learning in those spaces. And
Hmm.
then move in that direction. Take guidance from people, myself, or if you are a graduate from some other college, wonderful faculties you have. I'm quite sure more than one of them would be, willing to help you out with your career options.
Building on this question, and this is going to be one of my last questions to you. You've seen you're now the HOD of operative dentistry at CMH. What changes do you want to see in training of the undergraduate students? I'm not talking about CMH. I'm just talking generally. What changes do you want to
honestly
see?
speaking, if I could change just one thing, just one thing, and I think it would eventually be changed. I think we are moving in that direction ever so slowly, is to bring comprehensive care.
Okay.
Is to somehow just bring comprehensive care into our clinical years.
Yeah.
Is what we
That's
are
very
lacking.
important.
And it would make a world of difference. And I think I've talked about this at whatever forum I can, and maybe when and I know many of the people who are in the decision-making positions in dentistry have tried to enforce that, but it somehow, has not, or they have not found their way to really enforce that. But what I'm trying to say over here, and is the terminology most times used, is that we might be, and I generally do not want to be too assertive in my assumptions because they are my personal opinions, is that we might be producing single tooth dentists because that is what we let you treat at any given time, and that is something that can give you a mental block when you go to a private practice or start, maintaining your own practices, and then you have to make a whole treatment plan for a patient. And it's not just making a treatment plan, then sequencing and then budgeting it, then the financial aspects of it and everything. So I think the sooner we get into the comprehensive care system where we have,
wonderful,
it's a controversial subject,
that's why I brought it
where we have combined clinics, and we give you a patient that you treat rather than a tooth that you treat. I think it would just
oh, that's amazing.
The rest of the things I think are moving in the right direction, honestly speaking. Medical education and its incorporation, the recent PMDC guidelines, if any of your students would have had a look at that, they are comparable to any of the international guidelines. It's a very thick document, and when the PMDC was running their last few inspections, it's just amazing if all of them, and they were really making sure that colleges were following all those guidelines. So in that way, we are moving in the right direction, in terms of using the teaching methodologies and, the resources. But I think what is lacking as a clinical subject, I think what is lacking is the concept of comprehensive care in the clinical years.
Okay, wonderful, sir. Wonderful. My last question to you is: what do you think about the startup of ours, and any advice that you would like to give us?
I think I can tell whoever is watching that is something that you discussed with me once you had this concept. I think it's about time that we have some quality dental podcast from Pakistan, and I hope myself in this initial interview, and then later on so many other professionals can add some value to the decision-making process of young graduates, or maybe some of the practitioners as well, so we can be of value in any way, in whatever way you are conducting these. So I think it's a wonderful idea, and I hope the very best for you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, and thank you so much for your time, sir. It really meant a lot. It was an honor talking to you. It's always an honor talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again for having me, and I must tell you, you're going to make a really good dentist anyways, because you're my student, so I know that.
Thank you so much, sir. That means a lot.
The way you have conducted this, you can have another thought about a second profession as well.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Take care, sir. Stay safe.